Sup YouTube! Welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. Yatta zo omaera, ore wa ima legend da. We actually made it. We hit legend. Not on my account, so, you know, if that means anything to you, then I'm sorry. But we did manage to hit legend this season with a team of my own creation. Triple Shadows, non-XL, non-legendary team that helped me climb pretty much from expert rank 2576 all the way to legend rank around like 30, something like that, in 2 days. I really like this team. I don't think it's busted, but obviously it's my team, so I'm going to say it's busted. In case you're wondering if we're going to hit legend on my account, sadly we are not. I'm trying to use D-Knight Double Steal in the Master League. It doesn't have any play, but there is a mon that I have swapped out if you've watched any of my previous videos, and it seems to be doing so much better with that mon replacement, but it's still not working the way I would like it to. But without further delay, kick back, relax, grab a snack, and let's watch some gameplay. So, we are rocking Triple Shadows in the Ultra League, Open Ultra League. For the IVs, in case you're wondering, you want as best IVs as you can on D-Knight. You get certain bulk points if you have the higher stat product that you do have. For the first battle, we're just going to let it play out. This is Empoleon Double Fairy, and in the moment when I was playing it, I should have known that. But I waited way too long to realize that, and so it ended up costing me in the end. As best IVs as you want, as you can on D-Knight, you really do want as bulky a D-Knight as possible. Venusaur, you want to have as max IVs as you can. So if you have a really good Shadow that you use for raids, definitely use that one, because you want to win CMP against all of the fellow starters as well as Annihilate. For Alligator is a little comme ci comme ça, you know, ça dépend, which means it depends on what your style of gameplay is. From these battles, I sort of realized that I don't want to be winning CMP against the mirror. I kind of want to sack for Alligator if I see the mirror on the lead. And as you can see here, Togekiss is in the back, and if they shield both of these moves, then I'm absolutely scuffed. So I top left. I don't get to that move, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. One team that you will not win against, if you face that a lot, then don't use this team, is Greedent lead, A9, and Tina in the back. Unfortunately, there is absolutely no way that I have found out to win against that team. Here, Flygon's going to commit to a very aggressive farm down. So if you see that team, then either immediately top left, or try to save swap Venusaur and see if maybe you can pull something out of your behind. Now, having said that, Venusaur is not a safe swap. Venusaur works, and Exhibit A right here, to perfection in the back. And I'm going to say that probably 100 more times in this video. As you can see, Venusaur core breaks the rest of their line. Actually, core broke all of their team, essentially. But once we sacked for Alligator and we're able to essentially sack D-Knight, which kind of sucks, put a little bit of strain on my already high cholesterol heart. I don't think they got the debuff, but I am going to swap into D-Knight at some point to clear the debuff, just so that a Frenzy plan will KO the Jelly essentially from full health. So you see me here load up. I'm not going to throw the move because I will have to throw two. I tried to make a catch, but my opponent was probably building to the back-to-back, and at this point, the Frenzy will KO from this range. Are there any replacements on these, like for any of these mons on this team, or do you need all of these mons? One, you do need the Shadows for all of these mons. Venusaur does not hit anywhere near as hard on the regular version. You need the Shadow. You need it. Here you see my game stutter lag a little bit, but I was also trying to attempt a catch. So it kind of ended up working out for us. Don't throw a move immediately. They'll most likely swap into a Skeledirge. So do your two, then throw, so that you throw on optimal timing. You still survive a Surf. You still survive a Nature's Madness. And at this point, this isn't a bad lead for Alligator. You're essentially just sacking Venu because you know it's not going to have any play in the back. So you want to optimize it as best as possible. Here they're not going to build up to, or rather, they don't have a move built, so I can still do two and then throw. They end up sacking the Dirge, which is perfect. We did tank some energy at this point. Like, oh, I guess I am going to shield. I wanted to respect the Nature's Madness, but I don't think they were added. I think they caught on, actually, no, they should have been added. But at this point, I don't need to shield anything. They come in with Greedent, and I'm just going to soften it up. And they have a move loaded on the Tapu, so I need to be aware of that. I need damage on this thing. But I wanted to tank a move and store a Hydro in case I need it in the end game. And at this point, Dragonite can clean house. I don't even need to go for the superpower. I think my opponent ends up, I end up CMPing here. I don't recommend it, but, you know, they were building up to the back-to-back, so at that point, this is fine. You comfortably survive, and by comfortably, I'm exaggerating ever so slightly. 2 body slams. They go for the crunch to try to get a debuff. The debuff does not put you in fear of death range, so you're still good. I anticipated the Tapu swap, so I throw my Dragon Claw immediately, and they don't elect to get their move off, which is fine. And at this point, I'm realizing I could probably just Dragon Breath this thing down and get the win. This team has a play into everything, as long as you don't play like a bozo. Please do not play like a bozo. Be better than me. If I can hit legend, you 100% can absolutely hit legend. What do you do if your catch attempt is unsuccessful? Well, essentially you are still sacking Venusaur. And here I'm noticing that they're overfarming quite a bit. And I have the Frenzy Plant loaded. I can get my move off even if they bait me. But they full send the Quake, which is insane. So now I think, or I assume that they're rocking Night Slash, even though Earthquake probably would have done more damage. But I just want to shield down. Again, for Alligator lead into Tapu teams isn't hard at all. It's a favorable lead for you, in my opinion. So essentially we're just going to overfarm max energy. They do one and throw the move, so I'm not able to get my move off. But this is fine. You're still not in any danger of getting farmed down, which is beautiful. But for most Tapu leads, I've noticed that Venusaur doesn't have a lot of play in the back, which obviously, you know, they're preventing a grass type from coming in. In general, Dragonite is your safe swap. There's only one scenario, apart from like that A9 team that I told you about, where you would safe swap Venusaur. Again, Venusaur is not a safe swap. Please do not be safe swapping Venusaur and then come back on this video and complain. Dragonite for the most part is your safe swap, especially for leads where like in this scenario right here. I'd rather lose lead once I'm up a shield, or even if I'm not up a shield. Come in with Venu. I know they're not going to get a move, so I'm just going to farm it all the way down. And as I say that, I come in with Dragonite. However, I think what I was thinking here, I was still kind of playing out the team. They come in with Crest, which isn't an actual response to Dragonite up energy, and especially in the 2s. So I figured I would try to either sack Venusaur again, because it's a water type lead. I figured maybe it didn't have a lot of play. And once I get this move off, I should have shielded. If they're staying to throw in energy, it probably means they have Future Sight. But I was feeling a little arrogant, you know. And I'm just gonna overfarm to the max. Make sure I don't CMP just in case they decide to yeah, exactly, in case they decide to shield. And then here I do end up CMPing or CAPing, whatever you want to call it, and they do elect to let that move go. Now this isn't the best because I am sort of low on health, and I believe I threw like a bozo right there, but I just need to get either one shield off or damage off, and now at this point I can probably farm down. Their win con is if they have Night Slash and they boost, which they probably should have done earlier, but they do end up having Ice Punch, and we managed to just barely clutch out that game. Okay, Core Breaker lead. You stay in with Feraligatr for most neutral leads, and especially leads that you win. That's obvious. But for Core Breaker, the Tapu Koko Core Breaker, because you are ABA weak to it, you swap Venusaur. And it's your only play. There, as you're going to find out in this game, they end up having a Skeledirge in the bag, which I'm not sure why they didn't bring that in. Skeledirge is such a clean matchup against Venu, that if you do have that, that's what I would recommend bringing in. I think you're going to see me undercharge this a little. No. Okay, I go for the full. And then I don't throw off any more Vine Whips because I want to get energy on Feraligatr. Spoiler alert, we do end up losing this team, or this matchup, but I do think that was my own mistake. I 100% think we could have won this, and you're going to see exactly what I mean. They are one away, I believe, from the Nature's Madness. I am going to get to this Hydro Cannon. They're obviously forced to throw. I'm still going to do one and throw. I am debuffed, but they're not at the back-to-back, which is beautiful. They don't attempt a catch. Right there, the game kind of stalled a bit. I thought I was going to lose that move, which would have been absolutely infuriating. And they have a Dirge in the back. And here I forgot that I could have done 2 more Dragon Breaths. What I should have done, really, is I should have let them get to the Disarming Voice because it doesn't KO, as you're going to see right here. And if I had gotten just those 2 extra Dragon Breaths that I should have had, you're going to see that 3 Shadow Claws, 1, 2, 3, that is Dragon Breath range. 3 Shadow Claws would have been enough to KO, and we would have had that game. So a core broken lead, like a team core breaker in the lead, and we almost came back from it. Again, Dragonite is your safe swap for Ampharos leads, electric leads, and this isn't as pretty as you would think. They try to get a shield and then come in with something else, and that's fine. Throw the superpower against the Feraligatr that comes in, because you're either going to force a shield or you're going to put it into range where you can shield once and farm down. And you're probably already seeing that Venusaur is already core breaking this team, so I'm hoping that it has play in the back. Let's see. Let's cope. So I'm bringing in Feraligatr essentially to sack it, but also to farm up some energy, because the Ampharos is still a ways away from its next Brutal Swing. I do get the defense fell there, which is kind of trash. In case you're wondering why I'm rocking Crunch at this point in the video, I haven't yet found a reason to rock Ice Beam. Ice Beam obviously KOs or hits really hard against a lot of flyers, a lot of dragon types. But I have found that Crunch is much more useful than Ice Beam, in my opinion. If you want to rock Ice Beam, go for it. That said, I don't want to be walled by a Tentacruel, so I feel like that's where Crunch comes in really, really handy. And as you can see, we're winning CMP against this Annihilate, which is good information to have, because that means that I can CMP again, CAP again, and win the charge attack priority, and be just enough away from that Frenzy to KO the Ampharos. So we do manage to come back from this pretty shit lead. But again, my opponent didn't have a true response to Dragonite, and Dragonite is core breaking a lot of teams. If you watched my previous video, I used to rock Dragonite in the lead, a sort of ABA to Ice type team. Now I'm really, really liking the Feraligatr lead, where you're less, you're not ABA weak to anything. It's an incredibly balanced team. You do well into just about anything. You're not exactly trying to bait out anything, so you don't have to rock it ABB style and try to bait something out and then, clean house with a Backmon. I really, really enjoy the structure of this team, and if I don't hound it enough, then I'll hound it some more. I stop attacking there because I'm gonna come in with Feraligatr. I know that there's a Poliwrath in the back. Sorry, Dragonite. But up this much energy, especially up 2 shields, I believe that I can take out this Sandslash. Now I just need to watch for a catch. My opponent's Wincon was probably sacking their Poliwrath at this point. I do throw on a Bozo, like an alignment like a Bozo right there. It wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me. It was my game cucking me. But my opponent decides to throw immediately, which, at this range of elo, like, you should be anticipating that your opponent's probably going to catch once they full send the superpower. But it is what it is. In the heat of the moment, you think one way, and obviously I punted a lot of games because I am not that good. I think, yeah, okay, so my opponent's CMP's here. I'm not shielding Feraligatr at this point. I'm just sacking it. I'm hoping I can make it to another Hydro Cannon, but I can't. And you could argue that I probably should have thrown the Dragon Claw before getting debuffed, but my opponent is energy dry. 1 superpower will KO. I think I throw like a Bozo again right there. But we do manage to clutch out that game. Sandslash in the back is also pretty difficult for this team, especially if you don't bait it out with Feraligatr. And another mirror matchup. So, the reason I started to like not winning charge attack priority is because you can come in with your Backmons and sort of get ahead on energy. And I included this team, or this matchup, because I make a bozo-ass misplay that you're gonna see. Somehow, in the span of what could possibly be called a minute, if that, probably 30 seconds, I forgot that this thing had Crunch. For some reason, I end up shielding this move, even though, they won't get to 2 moves here, right? My Vine Whip goes through, as it should, but I shield. Why am I shielding? I completely forgot that it had Crunch and not Ice Punch. Had I still had my shield and my wits about me, this would have been easy clapping. Venusaur up a shield against Sandslash, Shadow Sandslash, is incredible easy claps. They're at the back-to-back, which is fine. I'm going to throw this move off, but they catch, which is not the first time this has happened. This has happened before, but I should not have shielded that move. And here, I think I wait a little too long to attempt a catch. But at that point, my opponent was probably gonna save their shield anyway for Sand Slash. And here my opponent has a very easy win con. I need to build up to the back-to-back, and they're already at 6. So they're at 1 Shadow Claw's worth of energy, and I'm just not gonna be able to outpace. So I do top left once I realize that. But a very, very winnable game. Again, like, this is not a defect of the team. This is a defect of the me. I do wait a turn so that I can assure that they don't catch this move. And once I get a shield, I am sacking for Alligator. I would rather them full send a Shadow Ball than me shield up a Night Slash, which would hurt. They try to make a catch there. We are exactly 1 turn away, and you will see they do not build up to the Ice Beam, so I don't respect it. They go for the Crunch, which is fine. I'm going to do 4 and throw the move, just on the off chance that I do lose CMP. I don't want to lose all this energy. But the reason I do rack that high IV Venusaur in the back is because I'm trying to win CMP against all of these leads. I think I'm going to come in with Feraligatr, get the Hydro off. I'm waiting out my switch timer so that I can bring in Dragonite up 2 shields. Their timer wasn't up yet, as was mine not. Very Shakespearean English. And up 2 shields against Saddle Slash. We are absolutely going to clap this little Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a very uncomfortable team. I've noticed that a lot of people are now rocking Sand Slash in the back, which doesn't bode well for my team, which kind of counts on Venusaur in the back. If my opponent calls a bait here, that's my lose con. So, you know, my opponent didn't need to shield that. They were playing to their win con. Okay, another... this is a very, very good lead. The reason I left this in is because Guzzlord core breaks the rest of my back line. What to do? They throw their move right away in order to force my hand. I do want to store energy on this. The reason I shield is I'm going to bluff the Ice Beam. If they call it, that's fine, but they don't. So then I'm bringing in Venu, because if they have Talonflame in the lead, if they have Guzzlord in the back, again, throw on proper timing. If they have Guzzlord in the back, then I'm a sure as shit that Venusaur is going to have absolutely no play on this team. They're at the back-to-back, and I'm 1 away from the move, so they are forced to throw all their energy. I'm going to come in with Feraligatr and farm as much as I can, which is 4 Shadow Claws, and then I'm going to throw my Hydro to force them to make a decision. 2, 3, 4. Just in case they're trying to get my shield. And I think I'm not going to come in like a bozo onto D-Knight, but I am going to respect this move and come in with D-Knight. I'm going to store up a Hydro, I think. Yeah, 1. And then come in with D-Knight and farm down. Because at this point, Talonflame really has no play, and it's Gira Cochina in the back, and I am up energy, so I'm able to outpace to their Dragon Claw. That said, if you have a bulky Dragonite, this Dragon Claw will not KO. Had my opponent undercharged this slightly and gotten 3 Incinerates, I believe Talonflame is one of the few Pokemon that does win CMP against Feraligatr. And that would have been bad. But they don't. They're 4 Shadow Claws away. We managed to outpace. We're at the Hydro before they get to their Dragon Claw, and we managed to clutch out that game. So a Core Breaker in the back. Guzzlord leads would play out pretty much the same. Match shields, bait the Ice Beam. Okay, Giratina lead. I only ever throw immediately if the Giratina is rocking Dragon Breath. If they're rocking Shadow Claw, I essentially wait. I do get the Defense Fell, which is clutch. They don't build up to the Shadow Force, so I'm not going to respect it. And what do they try to bring in? They bring in a Ho-Oh, and I throw 1 too many Hydro Shadow Claws because it stunned me. I was like, what the hell? A Ho-Oh? So I'm thinking, okay, in the back is probably going to be Talonflame, right? Double Incinerate users is my thinking going in. And once I had that shield, I should have just not shielded this. I should have let this go. I would not have made another move, but I should have called a bait. That Sacred Fire will hit hard, or at least I should have thrown this move right here since I wasn't debuffed. The Dragon Claw would have KO'd from there. So now I'm just hoping they don't snipe, which they don't because they have a move loaded on the Giratina. And I'm still, I think, a little ways away. Again, I throw like a bozo, so I allow them a full wing attack of energy in. I'm going to do 1 and throw my move, but they waited a turn. They didn't swap, right? They're playing to their absolute win con. They're at 3, 4, 5. I thought they would throw when they had the move because I was 1 away from the Dragon Claw. Either they lost track of energy or my opponent was just patient as shit. And I end up sacking Venusaur. They build up enough energy to have the Dragon Claw. I'm not yet at the Claw. And I lose this game like an absolute bozo. So, all that to say, that if you're playing like Shikaka, like I am, you still have a shot at hitting Legend. So never fear, right? You have play. Okay, here's the Dragon Breath Giratina. What do? I throw right away just in case they decide to throw their Dragon Claw right away because we pace exactly the same to the crunch. I'm not going to shield for Alligator though. Like, I would rather get shields from the China and trust in Venusaur in the back. They could obviously catch this on what is most assuredly a water type in the back, but they don't. Now I'm going to bring in Venusaur. I'm really glad I got that defense spell. I'm still not going to shield the first move, but I will respect the second one because I think they're going to just barely outpace me, or we would have CMP'd, so they allow a full Vine Whip in. And since they're staying, I'm just going to overfarm quite a bit of energy. They catch on a Poliwrath, and this was a misplay on my end. I should have fully charged that. A fully charged Excellent would have allowed me to farm down before they get to a move. Massive misplay on my end. So yeah, I mean, like, this is so far so good. Either they were looking for the farm down or we did actually CMP on this move. And as long as this KOs, we are in the driver's seat. They have Feraligatr in the back. I just need to build up to a superpower and we will be sitting pretty like a bad bitch in the city. Okay. Superpower will KO Feraligatr, and if I haven't hounded it enough, Venusaur in the back core breaks a lot of teams. Skeleturge lead. This is really great for us. What is in the back? It's a Poliwrath. Make sure you are quick to the swap when you're facing off against Poliwrath. In this situation, you do want to undercharge because you don't, in case they let it go, you do not want Skeleturge to come back in and just farm you down all the way to Shitty Pot Town. And then you're going to see me wait. My opponent is doing the same. I throw one Vine Whip, and then I throw once they get to the next Icy Wind so that I can force them to make a decision. I'm still going to be 4 away from my Frenzy, so I managed to get this off, which is great chip damage. They only have 2 Incinerates worth of energy, and at this point, I do not need to respect anything from the Dirge. I am sitting pretty with my shields for Derp Knight in the back. They're staying in, which means Poliwrath was probably their hardest response. And since they shielded, I am going to shield as well. And then do 2. Actually, at this point, I think I'm seeing that I might be able to do 5 Shadow Claws and farm them down, which we do. So beautiful. What do they have in the back? Tentacruel. And at this point, I just need to get some damage off on this Tenta. I don't even build up to the next crunch. I just build up to the Hydro. Either force my opponent's shield or let this damage go through and then just farm down with Dragonite. They let it go through, and at this point, I can just farm down. And I believe this is the last battle of the video. And then we're going to see me, or my girl's account, hit Legend. Yes, this was me playing. My girl hates PvP. She runs away from rocket battles. So, you know, it is what it is. We can't all win. But we do manage to go in a 4-1. And then we actually went 4-1 for our Pika Libre set. I didn't get the shiny, unfortunately. So, you know, it wasn't just a fluke. This team didn't just work because of happenstance. No, we actually made a pretty good, solid team. I have never seen anyone use this team except me. So I'm very, very happy about finally having a team that I can call my own and that is actually really, really good at pushing for Legend. I hope you give this team a shot. I have played it out pretty much as well as I've explained it pretty much as well as I can. The rest is up to you guys. This will be the last video that I post. I am back in school starting Tuesday. I will not be able to post for another whole month. So I hope you'll stick around with me and I'll catch you guys again in July. Peace.